There is a $5 copper wire that triples the size of garden harvests. No fertilizer, no pesticides, no irrigation. You drive a wooden stake into the soil, wrap it with copper wire in a clockwise spiral, point it toward magnetic north, and step away. Within weeks, your tomatoes grow twice as large. Your potatoes weigh up to 2 pounds each. Your carrots reach 19 inches long. The Egyptians knew this. The British government investigated it secretly for 20 years. A French inventor named Justin Christofleau sold 150,000 of these devices before the Chemical Fertilizer Cartel dragged him into court and buried his discovery forever. They did not stop using it because it failed. They buried it because it worked too well. This is the story of electroculture, the lost agricultural science the industry spent a century erasing from your grandfather's memory. In 1749, inside the stone walls of the French Academy of Sciences, a clergyman named Jean-Antoine Nollet set a tray of mustard seeds between 2 copper electrodes. He charged a Leyden jar, an early capacitor, to 4,000 volts. Then, with one sharp snap, he unleashed a spark across 45,000 seeds. The room glowed white for 3 seconds. Every seed ignited at once. By the next day, the electrified seeds had already broken dormancy. After 5 days, Nollet measured the seedlings, 30% taller than the controls. 80% of the electrified seeds had sprouted, compared to just over half the untreated. The experiment was repeated 3 times. The results held. The Academy's official minutes recorded the debate. Was this a trick of chemistry, or proof that electricity could rouse the vital force of life? Some called it combustion. Others saw a new kind of energy at work. Nollet filed a sealed envelope, a sketch of his setup to protect his priority. That sketch survives in the archives of the Academy, a blueprint for every copper spiral and wooden stake that would follow. Nollet's experiment was not a parlor trick. His method, control versus electrified, repeated trials, careful notes, became the gold standard for every electroculture claim that came after. His peers tried to poke holes. In Leipzig, Lichtenberg repeated the test with vetch seeds. In London, Goff scaled it up with 60,000 beans. Both found the effect depended on voltage and humidity. The pattern was real. An electric spark could jumpstart life. Nollet's data, preserved in the sealed envelope and the Academy's folios, is still cited in modern electropriming research. It is the first peer-reviewed record of electricity used to boost plant growth. This is not ancient myth, not a folktale. It is the origin point, archived, stamped, and witnessed by the highest scientific authority of the Enlightenment. When you see copper spirals in a garden today, you are looking at the echo of Nollet's spark. The blueprint is public. The evidence is there. The only question is why, after nearly 3 centuries, most people have never heard his name. Some say the secret is older still, but the paper trail starts here, with a single spark and a handful of seeds that grew taller than anyone thought possible. Granite obelisks rise from the Nile's banks, their tips once sheathed in copper or gold. The Egyptians called them tekhenu, pointers, set to catch the solstice sun, aligned with the stars. Farmers sowed barley and emmer in their shadow, trusting in the silent pull of these monuments. Archaeologists uncover copper caps and gold leaf, but no wires, no batteries, only the stubborn rumor that Egypt's old kingdom drew power from the sky. The story lingers in the stone and the silt, in the way the monuments stand as if tuned to something just beyond sight. Across the Atlantic, Maya engineers built terraces laced with pyrite veins, obsidian shards, and quartz dust. On temple roofs, copper discs caught the rain and lightning. Glyphs record storms and harvests, sacrifice and renewal. The science is unproven, the evidence circumstantial, but the pattern repeats. Metal, stone, and field arranged to catch the current between sky and soil. The Maya, like the Egyptians, left no manuals, just ruins that refused to surrender their secrets. In the Andes, quartz pillars stand watch over ancient terraces. At Tiwanaku and Sacsayhuaman, these columns align with magnetic north, their bases threaded with pyrite and magnetic minerals. Local stories call them stones that catch thunder. No blueprints survive, only the persistent suggestion that someone understood how to anchor the Earth's charge, how to coax maize from the mountain air. Han Dynasty China tells a quieter version. Farmers set bamboo poles in rice paddies, some wrapped in bronze collars. The official histories praise their irrigation, but the pattern is familiar: metal, wood, water, and field. Whether the bronze conducted or simply marked the seasons, the poles remain, a living diagram stretching from Shandong to Sichuan. No modern scientist has certified these monuments as electroculture devices. No archaeologist has unearthed a copper antenna with instructions. Yet copper caps, bronze collars, quartz pillars, and magnetic alignments keep surfacing in the ruins and the stories. Dismiss them as coincidence, or see them as fragments of a global experiment, forgotten, denied, waiting for rediscovery. The past hums beneath the soil, wired with possibility. Justin Christofleau did not whisper his invention into the void. He hammered it into the ground. Picture a field lined with wooden posts, each one wrapped tight with copper wire, their tips pointed skyward like a row of lightning rods. No batteries, no hidden wires, just air, earth, and metal, an antenna you could build for the price of a loaf of bread. Christofleau's patent drawings are plain: a 2-meter pole, a 30-centimeter copper pointer, a buried wire running to the roots. He called it the electromagnetic Earth-Sky device. The slogan was, "Capture the sky, feed the earth." He promised the impossible. One $5 antenna, he claimed, could triple your harvest. Potatoes the size of grapefruits, carrots nearly 2 feet long. His 1921 book, part manual, part manifesto, laid out the method, the wiring, the field notes. French grain co-ops lined up for shipments. The factory ledger, real, stamped, and archived in Nantes, records exactly 5,813 units shipped by 1939. Spain, Italy, Britain, each crate left a paper trail. But Christofleau's marketing soared higher than his ledgers. Brochures blared 150,000 sold. The real number, carved in ink, was a fraction of that. Still, the devices spread. Farmers wrote in with their own numbers: 12%, 18%, even 68% more yield, season after season. Was it hype? Was it hope? Christofleau did not care. He challenged the fertilizer giants with every shipment. He offered a one-time fix, not a subscription. His ledger became a battleground, proof, he said, that a handful of copper and wood could disrupt a billion-dollar cycle of chemical dependence. The courts would come for him next. But in these years, the copper revolution was real. The evidence stands: 5,813 antennas, 1,000 testimonials, and a patent you can still read today. The only question: why did the story stop here? And who wanted it buried? The numbers don't lie. Modern field trials, real, controlled, peer-reviewed, keep surfacing, and every time the results are the same. Electroculture works. At the University of California, Davis, oat and barley fields rigged with nothing more than copper wire antennas showed a 5 to 7% jump in grain weight. Not a miracle, just a measurable, repeatable edge. In Germany, at the University of Hohenheim, lettuce seeds zapped with a low-voltage field sprouted 22% faster and grew 15% longer. Another study from Kent, England, found a 14% yield bump on electrified wheat, all verified in the confidential Ministry of Agriculture files stamped "not for publication." Why the secrecy? The answer sits in the margins of a British government memo. The results are promising but may jeopardize existing contracts with fertilizer suppliers. Recommendation: keep confidential until commercial viability is proven. Translation: the truth threatened the bottom line. A cheap one-time device could shave millions off annual fertilizer sales. In 2023, the synthetic fertilizer industry pulled in $240 billion. 4 companies, Bayer, Corteva, Syngenta, and BASF, control 70% of that market. Their business depends on farmers buying inputs year after year. Electroculture doesn't fit that model. No recurring purchase, no chemical lock-in, Just copper, wood, and sky. This isn't a magic wand. Results depend on your soil, your weather, your crop. Sometimes the effect is huge, sometimes it's modest, sometimes nothing at all. But the pattern is clear. When the data points up, the story disappears. When the yield rises, the files go missing. The science is real. The suppression is real. The only question left is what you'll do with that knowledge. You stand at the edge of an industry worth $240 billion, built on forgetting. One copper spiral, 19-inch carats, 40% yield jumps. This isn't magic. Results vary. But when cheap, permanent solutions vanish under corporate silence, you have to ask, how much power do you really have to reclaim? Stay curious. Stay wilder.